I'm getting the Apple Vision Pro today and entering an exciting new computer paradigm. The world will never be the same again. I'm very excited. Later today, an Apple Vision Pro will be delivered to me. Yes, I invested around $4,000 to purchase this device. I can afford it because years ago, I invested in Apple as well as other technology companies like Google, Nvidia, Microsoft, Facebook, and Amazon. I totally understand that the Apple Vision Pro will not be perfect. But like in the past when Apple created devices, it will change how we use computers. And while $4,000 is a lot of money, guess what? For what we are getting, it really is not that expensive. How can I say that? Well, in today's money, way back in the 1980s, my first computer was the Macintosh Plus. In today's money, that cost around $7,000. The Macintosh Plus back in 1986 had a small black and white screen, but it was totally cool and changed how people use computers. The original Macintosh created a new computer paradigm because it made the graphic user interface and mouse popular. Before this, even the prior Apple computer and MS-DOS computers that IBM and others created just used words typing to control the computer. We take for granted the GUI computers. Even Microsoft, after the Macintosh was created a GUI operating system. It was called Windows. For years with Windows PCs and the Macintosh, the GUI computer paradigm using the mouse and keyboard dominated how people used computers. But that paradigm did change. How? The iPhone. Apple's iOS system based on touch changed everything. Apple's iPhone together with the iPad dominate the way people use computers now. Look what happened to the stock of Intel. Intel stock is way down because regular computers like Windows PCs and the Macintosh are not growing like the way smartphones and iPads are. Touch has taken over as the better computer paradigm than the GUI with the mouse and keyboard. But now we are entering a new paradigm, spatial computing. With the Apple Vision Pro and its new spatial operating system, Apple has created a three-dimensional operating system. We live in a 3D world, yet up to now we have been operating computers in a two-dimensional world. Arguably prior to the GUI and mouse, the computer paradigm was just one-dimensional. For example, computers worked with punch cards with holes punched in and out, and with MS-DOS, which was words typed on a line. Spatial computing is what Apple has created with the Apple Vision Pro. Yes, other computer companies, including Facebook, have created something that looks like spatial computing. But what Apple does, based on creating devices and programming and operating system, is to take this to another level that will make all people go forward in the new paradigm. Remember, the GUI that Apple created in the Macintosh was actually created previously with a lab by Xerox. Apple, under Steve Jobs, saw what Xerox created and then used it to create the new computer paradigm. What Apple is good at is taking new technology and figuring out how to make it great enough and easy enough for everyday people to use. Remember the iPod? Before the iPod, there were several MP3 devices. But Apple took that technology and made it much better with the iPod. It was much better because it had more storage with a 5 gigabyte hard drive. Then it became much better by working with the iTunes program to easily buy songs and load it onto the iPad. Similarly, the concept of smartphones that were also computers existed before the iPhone. Remember early Windows phones in the early 2000s. They weren't good, They weren't good because Microsoft didn't really make devices, and also Windows was made for regular PCs, not really for smartphones. When Steve Jobs introduced the iPhone in 2007, he created a new paradigm for all people who wanted to use a computer. And the answer was touch. That was the new paradigm. Now, some people were skeptical when he created that. It is understandable, and they are skeptical now. Many people thought the Macintosh would fail, that using a mouse and GUI was stupid and for little kids. Similarly, when the iPhone came out, some telephone company executives said it would fail. They said it was too expensive. Remember the RIM guys who created the BlackBerry? The BlackBerry was the dominant smartphone at the time with a real physical keyboard. Those founders of RIM said the iPhone would never replace the BlackBerries because a touch keyboard could not replace a physical keyboard. Look how popular the iPhone and Android phones are now. So yes, the first model of the Apple Vision Pro is too expensive for many of us, and also it's not perfect enough for many of us. But it is the future, just like the Macintosh was, just like the iPod was, and just like the iPhone is.